Hi everyone, Shafiq here. Welcome to another edition of Founders Forum, where we answer questions submitted by founders and innovators like yourself. But before we do, I want to remind you to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as click on the notification bell so you can gain immediate access to the latest episodes of our shows where we help founders answer critical questions related to systematically building your startup. All right, hey Steven, are you ready with our first question?
Hey there, Shafiq. I have our first question right here, and it comes from a founder who is a B2B startup, which is in the second startup phase of repeatable sales and delivery. And his startup offers an enterprise software solution for cloud-based data security. All right, and his question is, when is it appropriate for a startup to use an enterprise sales team or a self-serve sales model?
Okay. So enterprise versus self-serve. All right, well, let's start by first asking if your solution is architected and capable of being sold in a self-serve model. Since we're talking about software, the answer comes down to whether you can automate the deployment of your solution to the point of requiring little or no human intervention. So for example, if your system is, say, like an ERP system, and requires your customers to convert their historical data and then building a self-serve, self-serve save model will not help in the implementation post-sales phase. So on the other hand, if your enterprise solution is more like Zoom, the teleconferencing solution that we're all kind of getting used to, and requires no integration with any existing systems, then it is a great candidate for enterprise sales model. So, for the self-serve model. Right? So assuming your solution falls in the category that it can be converted to a self-serve model, then the next question is, when should you focus on building up the self-serve capabilities? Well, why is that? Well, a self-serve sales model is hard to pull off. It's because you have three different tasks that you need to balance. First is building the functional version of the product. And then second is the automation around helping the buyer try your solution before they purchase. And then the third is instantiating the environment for the enterprise user and auto-configuring their deployment once they make the purchase decision. So on rare occasions, the last step is carried out during the second step as the customer wants to try your solution and see if it'll work for them. So the question is, should you invest in doing all three from the beginning? And our recommendation is almost always no. Start with focusing on the solution and use your product team to help you make the initial sales. Whether you win or lose the opportunity, you should perform a win-loss analysis by engaging the prospects. In either case, you need to understand what value proposition qualified you in or out, how the customer perceived the value promised or didn't, and what made them accept or reject the price. You need to collect this data across a sufficient number of initial sales to inform you how to build a self-serve model. Without this data, the efficiency of your sales funnel will drop significantly when compared to, say, face-to-face sales. So good product team members with prior sales experience are able to experiment in front of the customer to figure out how to help the customer navigate the buyer's journey. And of course, reduce the time of navigating that journey. So if they're a good historian, then after each sale, and I mean by good historian, I mean the team members, right? That you should have some role who plays, okay, what happened in this sale opportunity? Did we win it, lose it? And they go out and do discovery and they figure out what works. So historian is they look backwards and they figure out what worked and what didn't, right? Like I described earlier. So, and then as a historian, they make sure the rest of the team is informed, they understand what works. So everybody's kind of like on the same page. The whole organization learns along the way on what's working and what's not. So all of this data is essential for the product team to refactor the UX to convert the initial solution into a try before you buy approach. One of the key lessons we have learned by working with hundreds of founders is that you just can't skip important steps of manually delivering these types of solutions first. If you do, you're invariably going to lead to lots of rework and lost time. So gather the data you need to properly design and build a self-serve model if it's applicable. Steven, would you like to add your thoughts to this?
This is great. This is really great framing. What I heard you say is a startup can use an automated or self-serve sales model if its product or service can be automated as well. And I recognize, just like you, there are exceptions to this rule, but I really like this approach as it harkens to recent innovations related to revenue models, business models, solution delivery models. And as you were talking through that, besides Zoom, a few of them came to mind for myself, such as in the software industry, where the shift from single purchase or software licensing to subscription revenue models really ramped over the last 10, 12 years with the growth of SaaS-based solutions and cloud-based solutions. Now, when that occurs, it's obviously a challenging and substantial change, but companies that embrace that change and opportunity to find an opportunity to turn their self-serve product into a self-serve or improve the self-serve selling process, companies like Adobe, they end up thriving. As in Adobe's case, its ability to deliver regular software updates enhanced its software value to its customers, which in turn made its automated selling process easier. And while it's on top of that, its automated selling process actually reduced its selling costs and then created a more predictable revenue stream. Another example that came to mind as you were talking, another example of a startup would be one that has an automated product that really upended the industry, and probably be relevant for this founder's question is Slack. Slack sold its ERP collaboration tool directly to corporate teams with an easy 3-step sign-up process and a free trial, just like you referred to having integrating a free trial option. And what was interesting is Slack's approach meant that it could avoid a protracted, complex sales scenario that slowed down competitive products such as Salesforce's Chatter product or Microsoft's Yammer, and as those really sold software licenses or seats. So as a refresher for everybody, just want to make sure we're talking about all on the same page. A complex sales scenario is when there are many different types of buyers whose approval is necessary to get to a final buying decision. Oh, and Shvik, I of course can't skip the opportunity to point out that Tesla's sales process is automated such that anyone can buy a brand new car within 5 minutes. Plus, the delivery of the car is just as easy with a Tesla advisor being able to deliver your car to your house or at a location of your choosing. So I'm not sure why you're not having Teslas delivered to your house all the time, Shvik. This is calling for you. Now, I will admit, and I'll point out that Tesla didn't start with a fully automated touchless sales process initially, but this is what it worked towards as a selling and delivery innovation over its competitors because, frankly, nobody really wanted to haggle with car salesmen anymore. They just wanted to be able to buy their car in 5 minutes and be on their way. Okay, Shvik, next question here, and it comes from a first-time founder with a consumer packaged goods startup, which is in the first startup phase of market validation. And her question is, during your last episode, you mentioned prospect generation, but didn't detail out how to specifically do this. She's asking, could you elaborate on the steps involved? Also, would Google's AdWords be a tool that a startup could use to identify prospects?
Okay, so I think, let me see if I understand the question correctly. Stephen, can we put up the lead generation process chart? Yeah, okay, so our founder is asking how to generate the list of prospects you target in the highlighted section of the process. And that turns out to be a sub-process in itself. So, well, there are several methods and largely have to do with your initial market segment hypothesis as well as the phase you're in. So one of our incubator members, for example, company Valvomax, targeted car owners who maintain their own cars. Now, Valvomax helps car owners change their oil without any mess fast. So no tools required after the initial installation. So during the market validation phase, they needed access to lots of car owners to validate the opportunity. Well, they found them by hanging out in the parking lot of AutoZone and O'Reilly's. Mike Burns was able to perform customer discovery with over 30 customer interviews in just one weekend. Because the product had such broad potential, it didn't take Mike very long to get lots of beta customers and prove out the basic value prop. Now, during repeated sales and delivery phase, Mike had to figure out how to reach thousands of car owners fast. Mike found the perfect place to reach millions of car owners who maintain their own car on a YouTube channel operated by Scotty Kilmer. So prospect generation has a lot to do with understanding the characteristics of your target market segment and how to efficiently reach them. Now let me work through one more example. If you have a B2B solution, then generating the initial list of prospects is easily done by focusing on the customer hypothesis. So for example, if you're focused on small business healthcare practices with less than 3 providers as a way to describe your customers, then you can find all kinds of online tools that will give you a named list of businesses with that profile by geographic regions. So having a clear customer hypothesis is very important. Then figuring out how to cleverly reach that audience is your next challenge. Now in our B2B example with the 3 or less providers, having a name list allows you to focus on the market during the market validation phase. In most cities, healthcare providers can be found in professional buildings near local hospitals. So canvassing a healthcare provider professional building can help you reach lots of prospects in just one trip. Of course, during the next phase, repeated sales and delivery, you need to figure out how you're going to reach that same segment without having to visit each one face to face. So this is where you'll need to discover a scalable channel strategy. But because you're trying to reach businesses, you can have a direct outreach strategy by region that targets known named businesses. Because businesses by definition don't have an unlisted way they operate. They have to be public, right? They have to have a public face, and which means that you can solicit them. Now that same strategy, of course, does not work for consumers in a B2C scenario, as finding the names of consumers who suffer from the problem you're trying to solve runs into all kinds of privacy issues. So in summary, the prospect generation process starts with your customer hypothesis and then your channel hypothesis where you can reach those customers for each phase of your startup development. Now, as far as using Google AdWords, of course, your ad will appear far more effective as well as your per-click spend if your customer hypothesis is well proven out during the market validation phase. Which also means that you should not be trying to use Google AdWords as a tool during the market validation, but is perfectly fine, of course, during repeated sales and delivery phase, as well as during the sustainable growth phase. Now, Stephen, I kind of covered a lot of territory. Would you like to kind of summarize with your thoughts, or did I do it pretty comprehensively?
Yeah, I think you did really comprehensive. I think the most important thing is to remind everyone that the reason why Google AdWords is great for the second and third phases is that your startup is ready to handle the demand that this tool may generate. I think you really kind of broke down the prospect generation process very thoroughly, but I wanted just to highlight that specifically. See, if you were to use Google AdWords prematurely, such as during the market validation phase, such as the case with this founder who submitted the question, the volume of prospects generated may be wasted, as the manual sales process and your manual production delivery process would probably not have been developed yet. Okay, here's the last question, Shafiq, and it comes from a second-time founder with a consumer fitness product, and his startup is also in the market validation phase. This founder's question is, I really like your buyer's journey. It makes a lot of sense to me. What I'm struggling with is how to resolve 2 issues for my specific product. First, how do I get a buyer past the question of does it work when it comes to evaluating my product? And second, how can I manage my customer's risk when it comes to incorporating this into my landing page? Can you give me some examples of how to do that?
Okay, so does it work and the risk question, got it. So, okay, I think I understand what our founder is asking. Stephen, the buyer's journey chart, can you put that one up? Okay, so what they're asking is how can they help the buyer get through steps 3 and 4 on their landing page in the buyer's journey. And just to remind you, step 3 is where they're considering alternatives. And in there, you have to clearly position your product as the best alternative, right? So the does it work kind of fits into that one, but it also works in the the risk management, which is step 4, before they get to the decision to purchase in the step 5. So So if you kind of have that picture in mind, then let's assume that if I have this, that's what you're asking, I have this correct, then let's start talking about answering the question, does it work first? So for that, there are lots of examples that help you answer the question, does it work? So remember when in market validation phase, I think I recall this correctly, Stephen, as well as in the repeated sales and delivery phase, you don't have enough evidence from real customers yet that your solution delivers on the promised value. So the only argument you can make is theoretical one. Since you're mostly dealing with early adopters, people who suffer from the problem, they know they suffer. So what is an early adopter? They're people who suffer from the problem, know they suffer from the problem, and are actively searching for a solution. Then a non-functional demo of your product is sufficient to get your qualified lead through the buyer's journey. Now, Stephen covered examples of this, of non-functional prototypes in episode, I can't exactly recall what, Stephen, I think it was like 8 or 9, where you covered Dropbox, how they got a large number of beta users by creating a non-functional prototype. And of course, Stephen also recently shared the Boring Company example, because everything is all about Elon Musk for Stephen. So we have to talk about Elon. Now, of course, the best method for getting even qualified leads in late majority is to show them. So what are the ways besides showing a non-functional prototype? Well, when you're later along, when you're in scale phase, this is where really you're trying to target beyond just the early majority. You're looking at the early adopters. You're looking at the early majority and late majority, and both of those groups need to know what the evidence is that your product really works. And in this case, you have to show them it's working. So if you kind of look at, if you look at a lot of consumer packaged goods that are sold as seen on TV infomercials, they're consistently showing the product performing in real life scenarios, right? And of course, another great mechanism is customer success stories, where customers are giving testimonials. This stuff works great, right? Like those kinds of stories. And of course, another method is, I think I kind of covered, so it's basically you're trying to show evidence where customers have had success and love using your solution. That's the way to get them past that phase. So depending on which phase of your startup development is, any one of those techniques, the appropriate one matters, and your page is your landing page, your selling page is going to evolve. And what happens is that when you actually have evidence you can share with your customers that does it work, that's where the magic happens, because you then get to reduce the time that the customers spend trying to get to answer that question. Okay, now let's turn to the risk question. There are many methods for managing risk, and depending on the product type. So for consumer packaged goods, providing a money-back guarantee usually does the trick. So does real customer reviews, like if you share what your customers are saying about your product and not made up stuff, right? That's why Amazon is so successful with their platform. Their policies, specifically their return policies, manage the risk for the buyer in really elegant and simple ways, coupled with their reviews. So you really kind of know the product is going to work with the reviews because you're hearing it from other people who've already bought it. And then their money-back guarantee, no questions asked, return policy allows you to then, get rid of that risk. Oh, can I return this if it doesn't work for me, right? Now, for a software product, of course, a try before you buy approach with like a freemium plan is an excellent method. And you'll find lots of people using that because it's really a proven way to get the buyers very quickly to figure out, yep, this is right for me, right? And of course, offering month-to-month plan, not year plans, also reduces the risk. So you can always, if the price is low enough, they'll just whip out the credit card, try it for a month. If it doesn't work, they'll cancel it, right? So that's another way for you to get them through the risk equation. And then, of course, when we go to like large, bigger capital purchases, having product warranties where the product is guaranteed to work for some number of years, like in the automotive, again, we'll go to Stephen's favorite entrepreneur, Elon. Tesla has, warranties on a variety of parts of their car, right? So that's another excellent method for managing the customer risk, providing product warranties, which is different than, by the way, product returns. So no question asked return policy is different. Money back guarantee is different than a product warranty, where you'll stand behind the product for its duration of its lifetime. So, which usually means like for cars 50,000 or 100,000, or even people have tried 200,000. So Stephen has talked about that in prior Building Lean series. Okay, now quick warning for everyone. Before I ask Stephen this question, we know he's going to talk about Elon. Okay, so just be ready, because I can tell he's gearing up. Stephen, do you have any novel approach that you've seen recently that help customers manage their risk? And of course, please, try and talk about Elon. I think he's feeling neglected.
Okay. I mean, if you're gonna twist my arm, Shafiq, I mean, I guess I could talk about Elon again. One thing actually what came to mind as you were talking about Tesla, on its does it work strategy. They had a pretty fantastic one that they were running. I'm not sure if it's still going on, where you could actually take a Tesla for a weekend or 1,000 miles and drive it, and if you don't like it, you just return it. It was pretty crazy. But don't worry.
Well, Steve, that just happened yesterday. The one you just talked about happened yesterday. Monica Lewinsky said, "I can't decide between a Subaru and a Tesla," and Elon said, "Just try it. You can always return it." And that was just like yesterday while we're recording this thing.
Oh, that's crazy. I missed that altogether. Okay, don't worry though. Just wanted to tell you, I am going to mix it up. I'm not going to only talk about Tesla cars. I'm going to talk about a different product, Tesla Solar. So, what was once known as Solar City, for those who aren't familiar with it, it was called Solar City before Tesla purchased it. Tesla's solar product is a roof-based solar collector in the form of an actual roof shingle, which made it unlike any other on the market. Doesn't sound like a really sexy product, but it's actually pretty incredible. Now, originally, Tesla offered just kind of pick up off what you're saying at the end there, Tesla offered a lifetime warranty for its solar product, which would seem to be pretty darn fantastic and directly addresses the issue of managing a buyer's risk. But recently, Tesla announced its version 3 of its roof-based solar shingles. As part of that, it's cutting back its warranty from lifetime to 25 years. Now, the question naturally be, why in the world would Tesla do that? Well, there's actually 3 reasons. Number 1, Tesla knew that it wouldn't sell millions of its solar shingle roofs with its lifetime warranty offer. They wouldn't sell that as a product to everyone, as that product was really geared towards early adopters. Number 2, since Tesla had already addressed the exact 2 issues that this founder asked about at the beginning, as in the solar roof shingles worked, so it proved the question of does it work, and they were built to last, so managing risk. Well, then Tesla could provide a revised warranty of 25 years instead of a lifetime warranty. It didn't have to go to that extent any longer. And the third reason they could do this is that unlike many startups that focus on customer acquisition at all costs, Tesla's revised warranty would actually allow the company to offer a sustainable product rather than one that would cause the company to lose money over time due to inevitable warranty claims. Sometimes as founders, we get a little too clever by half, and we forget that we got to build a sustainable business, and it's not just about customer acquisition. We got to plan for the future, and that's how Tesla is managed. Okay, that's my tribute to Elon for this time, probably, and that happens to be all the time we have for questions right now. If you are looking to build your startup lean, please click the link nearby or drop your question in the comments below. Also, please subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you can receive immediate access to our latest episodes, as well as more tributes by me to Elon. Building Lean is brought to you by the LeanMastery Incubator. Unlike other incubators or accelerators that rush you to pitch to investors, whether you're ready or not, LeanMastery guides you in building key business functions that turn up revenues fast, which puts you in the best position to successfully raise money and outrun your competition. Learn more about how you can become a LeanMastery Incubator member at leanmastery.co. Thank you all for watching, especially you, Elon, and we look forward to helping you be successful in building and pursuing your startup dreams by building lean.